Now, Nigerian soldiers have traced the militant leader allegedly behind last Thursday's killing of 17 soldiers at Okuama, Ughelli South Local Government Area, Delta State, to the riverine Ibomoturu community in southern Ijo Local Government Area, Bayelsa State, where they killed some youths who resisted their incursion and razed some houses belonging to militants. The soldiers, who arrived in 7 gunboats and a passport boat at 8 a.m. on Sunday, cordoned off the community, forcing villagers to scamper for safety into the bush. Troops also swooped on the Akugbene community in Bomadi local government area to arrest perpetrators alleged to have fled to the community. It is believed that the search is likely to extend to Rivers State. Well, joining us now as we take a look at the Nigerian military search for the killers of the 17 soldiers beyond Delta State is His Royal Highness Promes Chekwas Egwu Sega I of Egwu Kingdom in Rivers State. He's also a retired captain in the Nigerian Army. Good morning, sir, and welcome to the morning show.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, you are on both sides of the narrative. You're a retired captain, and you're also a traditional ruler. We'd like to have your perspective on the incident at Okuama, the killing of 17 soldiers, and then the aftermath, particularly the military operation that has now stretched across the states, from Rivers to Bayelsa to Ondo to other states of the Federation, trying to track down the perpetrators of what has been described as a heinous crime against officers of the Nigerian state.
Yes, rightly, like what you have just said, it's a very, very big loss to the Nigerian Army. During our days, the Lieutenant Colonel, the Rednecks, we don't lose them anyhow. There's no sort of reprisal or revenge that can be equated to the loss of a colonel, 2 serving majors, and some senior NCOs and other officers. It is rare to happen. Even in a combatant operation, it's very rare before you lose such ranks. Like it has happened already, but why did it happen is what will come to us. Because we have been clamoring for community policing, community intelligence gathering, because those people did not just come out from the air. They must have passed through one route or the other. If there had been community policing on ground for a good intelligence gathering arrangement, there should have been preventive measures, even to assault those people when they are preparing for such ambush. Because they didn't just come from the thin air. They are from one community or the other. There must be a takeoff point before where the incident occurred. No matter the circumstances, must be unveiled in due course. Because even since that day I've been on tears, it's never happened to the army. It's a very big loss. Whether human being, whether terrorists, whether spirit, they must be arrested. I know the army, they can assault anywhere at any given time if the order is given. Because those days we trained soldiers on amphibious brigades, and soldiers are trained for assault landing where there are creeks. So our boys will not be afraid to go after them. But I know it may be dangerous and deadly if you let loose the army to go after them for reprisals. We are not happy, but what if since that day I've been watching for the country to fly the flag low for half-mast for even a period of 1 week, because it's very tragic. I don't know who will die before we lower the flag. These officers, it's not easy to groom an officer to the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. It's very, very expensive to produce a senior officer. With the taxpayers' money, some go abroad, some locally trained, before they come to that rank and see, or the stupid, not even an operation. If they have died on operation, we won't have anything to say. But this is on a peace mission where they are going to reconcile whatever is happening there, which we don't know. And I've earlier said on this radio, not only being a retired army officer, I am in charge of the state OSPAC. I'm in charge of the state community policing, which during Obasanjo he arranged. But you see, government come, government go. And sometimes they dump these arrangements. And the only solution that can help us in all these things is for all communities to key up and have their own community policing for intelligence gathering, for surveillance purposes, so that whoever sees something must have to say something. What brought this action now is when he saw something, they didn't say anything. And that is what I think that have brought this action. So, I don't know, it has happened, but nobody is happy.
Right. Thank you, Your Highness. Now, one of the reports that came in was that a peace accord between these two communities had been reached just a few days before this tragic event transpired. Now, my question is, you know, if there's a peace accord in existence, what, from your experience, both from the, you know, community leadership perspective and from the military perspective, what then necessitates the invitation of the army for peacekeeping mission when it seems a negotiation took place and an agreement was reached which was solidified in the form of a peace accord? What are really the challenges on the ground?
Rightly, you have rightly said this peace accord. In every peace accord, one side must be favored, the other may be losing out. And on that perspective, there must be sabotage to destroy that negotiation that have already worked out. And that is why there must be thorough investigation. Who invited the army? Who arranged their coming? How did information go out to know the soldiers of such caliber is moving out? And before they were assaulted by nuisance. And nobody's happy because the information must have leaked out, and those parties not favored in that dialogue or whatever peace accord they are going for must have masterminded this assault on my gallant soldiers, which never happened before. And that is why the offshoot of these issues must be getting back to those communities. I've said it earlier on radio, even asked Radio River, that communities that have problems or look volatile, those responsible for all these actions, they must start from the traditional rulers, the certificated royal highnesses. Why are they paid salary up to the tune of 1 million and above? Is to be responsible for security and welfare of their people. That's why the government positioned them and gave many certificates, and they are not working. We can't call it oversight because communities must know. No forest that don't have the owner of that forest. If government goes to any forest today to put a project, a landlord must come out to say, I own here for compensation's sake. And we must not overrule that. Information must have leaked out. And in every system, there must be saboteurs. But rarely before you discover a saboteur. That saboteur do work out to leak the information, to plan for ambush, does not just happen in the twinkle of an eye. There was a place they gathered, they met, they discussed, they planned, they executed. And maybe now they have created problem for most of us who haven't been our children's service. And they want to demoralize the government, but they cannot do that. Because soldier remains a soldier. Really, we have lost senior officers that never happened before, but that does not discourage the soldiers not to continue doing what they are doing. So like what I'm saying for now, the offshoot of this matter must have started from the grassroots. One, the type of problem they are settling, the peace negotiations they are going in, the type of accord, how favorable it is to any side. We here outside, I'm from Ilelewa in Obiabo, I'm still very far to that area to know really what's happening. But there must be dragnet that can be spread down there by intelligence gathering to know the real problem on ground, so that we can have solutions, because there is no problem without solution. And the solution to this now is for everybody to sit up. Everybody is involved. See something, say something. And we must imbibe with the community of policing ideologies. Other communities are doing that in other states, community guard here and there. The soldiers there don't know the terrain. They don't know the environment. They don't hear the language. There must be people around there that should have been giving the soldiers even intelligence report before they advance for that sort of peace mission, as to know if the community may be smiling and having grudges in mind. Sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes they set up a system like that to set you up, say, come on the road, something happens. You may not know that somebody very close is a saboteur. But there is a solution to all this. Reprisals or no reprisals, yes, no amount of reprisals that can be equated to the loss of this officer. So we will advise in due course to see how the government could take care.
Okay, so I would like to ask, should the military be intervening in communal clashes in the first place, or the police? Is that supposed to be the remit of the military?
Police, yes. When we serve the armed forces, our police today is more or less Nigerian police force. But you know, Nigerians today, mostly in those volatile areas, they don't regard the police. Even rarely police from some areas cannot go to the River Rhine. And they know, that's why JTF is stationed around there. They have been working hard. They have been maintaining peace and make people maintain status quo. And that is why the nearest police those communities have is the soldiers. Because those boys there are, I don't know, they don't have, ask the police force, rarely a police officer will be agreed to go transfer in those areas. They disarm police, they insult the police, they mess up the police. And if they can extend this to the soldiers, it means the government has to plan for another reactions. And that's why the army cannot be blamed for going, because they have been on ground. There are battalion stations nearer there, there are divisions all around.
Okay,
station, they worry.
I'm going to ask, so does it make it right, you know, that we have now relegated the work of the police and we have put in, you know, the army? I mean, please, let's get it right. Because you are the one talking about community policing in one breath. And the next breath you are saying army has justification for going on. So should it be army policing, army community policing, or community policing?
No, listen, not army policing. Let me cite one instance. In 1993, during the Mosul-Pogoni problem, you know what happened then? There was a joint team, police, army, navy, when Major Paul Okuntibo and Obi Umai was controlling and commanding to bring peace in that area. And that's why your army may not be blamed, because if they are not invited, they will not be there. And if they have not been there for long, they wouldn't have been going. They have been managing the crisis area. No matter, Nigeria is too large. Police, yes, is there. It's the police job to move for the army to give them backup. But when police cannot go there due to the armament, due to what they experienced there, the army can still move in, while police will come in to take over at the tail end of the dialogue or whatever they are doing. Army has their job. But you know what happened then, during the Yar'Adua? Militants were repentant, but many have not been repentant to date. And you don't expect a policeman who is conventional, who comes to do job with baton, no matter they train them on how to handle arms, to go and confront someone who is very ready prepared. No matter there was disarmament, but we did all disarm 100%. And that is why I think those areas, mostly those areas, if you know the terrain, those areas, Bomadi, Patani, all the river Rhine, you cannot even go near that river. And that's why these communities are from. And that's why maybe the people, they are choose to beg the army. Like it's the only army they think they can accord respect. And look at it now, there was another commando style, which means we must be thinking the army to change tactics, because the army, due to democracy, the army weakened or torpedoed most of their assignments. If it is when the army is allowed to, I don't think this will happen, because from the junction, they will be behaving like the army till they get there. But democracy weakened the power of the army somehow. This human rights people made even police cannot work. You slap a criminal, it turns a problem. You beat up anybody, you treat him. And how do you expect police to go into a volatile area where they must be overpowered? And that is why the army is going. And the senior brass, the top brass of the army was there was no respect.
Your Highness. Well,
have you heard what I said there?
Yes.
The community looks like now they don't have regard to anybody if they can assault the army.
Well, Your Highness.
And that's why I think the police did not go, because of the environment.
Your Highness, you said something.
But police still have the assignment.
Your Highness, can you hear me? Your Highness, you said something.
I'm hearing you very well.
Yes, you said something about, you know, flying the flag at half-mast. Well, the truth is that the Chief of Defense Staff, General Musa, directed that all military installations should fly the flag at half-mast from March 18 to March 20.
But I have about that. That's very good. That's the first thing we need to do to accord respect to this.
Yes, so that step has been taken out of respect for the fallen heroes and in accordance with military tradition. But two things. Do you think that the military is overstretched? The military under the Constitution is supposed to come in aid of civilian authorities, not permanently. But now it appears as if the military are doing police work on a permanent basis from the coast to the savannah. Do you think that that's a good thing? And what would be your advice to President Tinubu or the Nigerian government in terms of what to do to make this country safer for everybody, whether in the Delta or in the North?
That's very correct. You should have asked me again, why is the military in Maiduguri, not the police? You see, environment changes decisions and actions. Police go and they will overrun. That's why the army go. And the army cannot do police job, but army will go to assist where police have been overpowered and it's not regarded anymore. An army cannot sit there and see police people being humiliated or they run them out. An army is sleeping, saying, I'm waiting for army job. What is the army job? Protect life and property within the sovereignty of this nation. But they must get order from the division, from the brigade, or from the battalion. What you'll be asking now for me is, did they get proper order from defense headquarters or army headquarters or their headquarters or garrison before moving in there? If such order is yes, they are told for this question because it's interwoven. The job of the police, the job of the army. Because two of them are protecting life and property. And in democracy, we have democratized to make the military look like police. And that's why they are doing all these jobs. But if it's during the military era, the soldiers are confined to barrack and maintain status quo, and people respect the army. Our days will stay even in the forest. Rarely we come to township. And when you see a soldier, you'll be running. But today, look at how it is. Democracy makes a soldier even to be a tenant. No accommodation for the army in the barrack. They're not to their welfare, I don't know how. And when people start seeing masquerade every day, it is no more a masquerade. And that is why I say this thing has happened. We must change our modus operandi. But the solution to all these our problems, let's get back to community policing. Community policing as well work with the army. We call them civilian JTF in the north. It doesn't mean they will call them army policing. Community policing is the civilian JTF. They assisted the army very well in the north. So let's do that same way here before something more than this will occur. Because somebody who knows the terrain knows how to go it best. You cannot bring somebody from Yola to send him to Bomadi. Only seeing the wave of the river, he will collapse. Being in military order, only the army is that person that cannot resist an order. Because in the army, you don't say no. Police can sometimes decline in order. But the army, you don't say no, for better, for worse. We are crying not because we lost this gallant officer. If it is being operation, it's what we signed for. But this is not an operation per se. If in international operations, we can't lose this cadre of officers. But this is local arrangement, and the problem is local. And we must try now to localize the whole system and get out the criminals so that this will stop. By creating and backing up the community policing of every community. Any community that don't key up to community policing, anything happens there, you hold the Royal Highness and other stakeholders responsible. They can produce their criminals. They know them very well.
On that note, Your Highness, would like to thank you very much for joining us on the morning show.